the Fresno Focus Radio Hour. This is the No Focus Radio Hour. Comedy and insight from the greatest minds in Fresno. A Lightomine Media production. That's right. This is the No Focus Radio Hour, the #1 independent podcast in the Central Valley. Thank you for listening, and thank you for telling a friend. The No Focus Radio Hour is available anywhere podcasts can be found, including YouTube, Rumble, and your home smart speakers. Just say, hey, home smart speaker, listen to the No Focus Radio Hour. Remember, your mic was off.
Working.
Remember to subscribe and leave a review. It helps others discover our show. While you're reviewing, please keep in mind that 5 stars is the correct number of stars. If you enjoy our show, share it with your friends. But if you hate it, share it with your enemy.
I'm an enemy.
So, hey, Marty, listen to our show.
Hey,
it's really bad. You should listen to it.
Okay.
Check out our site, nofocusradio.com, for exclusive content. You can also check out other shows. Oh, my goodness. You got to start singing. Look at all of us. Go.
Got to do. Ooh, hit the ground running. A little late, but I'm running.
You're running fast.
Running just as fast as I can.
You got to catch up.
Gonna hit the ground running. Running to my favorite podcast in Fresno.
Golly, that was rough.
Wow.
This is the No Focus Radio Hour, the #1 independent podcast in the Central Valley.
It's the drinking show.
It's made for those who miss the Central Valley, for those who live in the Central Valley, for those who long to live in the Central Valley, and for those who
cannot wait to live in the Manchester Mall in the Central Valley.
No.
Is that true?
That's what they tell me.
They tell me, yeah. I like
Listen to our last show, folks.
that. Oh, my goodness. As usual, we have our beautiful cast of characters. Don is still gone. He busted his pole.
Uh-oh. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about his polls.
Yeah. It's pretty sad, right?
I miss smoking it.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
What'd you say?
Nothing.
He missed something.
Okay.
Yeah, we missed it. Whatever he missed, we missed.
Anyways, guys, we have with us...
I got a cast of characters here.
Yeah, we have with us the doorman.
Hey, I'm one of the cast of characters on the show. Hey, you know what? There is a virus, and I talked about this in a previous podcast, and it's getting worse and worse.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's really making me madder and madder. This backward parking thing.
Oh, the backward parking.
It's getting so annoying.
I agree.
I pull into a parking lot, and it's like I'm waiting 15 minutes now, pulling in, waiting for someone to backward park into a place so that I can just go to get to another stall and forward park.
Oh, my God.
Anyway.
Like a normal person.
Yes, please.
Oh.
It's a virus. I don't know what we're going to have to do to
A lot
inoculate.
of people in trucks. Big trucks.
Maybe we'll get herd immunity at some point, but I don't know. This thing is out of control at this point.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You guys aren't backward parkers,
Oh,
are
heck
you?
no.
No? All right.
Depends on the day.
Oh no! Don't. They're getting to Johnny. Don't.
Feels good to do it.
Nah. Don't let him get to you. We also have on the other side of me the one, the only stupid asshole.
Okay, so I'm going to educate you fools because that's what I like to do.
Oh.
I learned a
Yes.
new phrase that the kids are using, a bit of slang that you might enjoy.
The kiddos.
Yes.
Okay.
When you see someone with a nice outfit, you say, nice drip.
I have no
The
idea
outfit
how that
is the drip.
I have
Nice
no
drip.
idea how that even correlates to outfits.
So when
Nice
someone's
drip.
very fashionable, you say, I like your drip. And that means I like your outfit.
That
I
makes
took my daughter looking for prom dresses, and I learned all of this.
that makes 100% no sense.
Urban
Exactly.
Dictionary. Drip or dripping is a word coming from Atlanta, Georgia, popularized by rappers such as Gunna.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
When you're dripping, it means you wear some drip, nice clothes, jewelry, etc. Nice drip means you're wearing nice clothes.
Yep.
Consequently,
Oh my god.
Urban
Oh no.
Dictionary says,
Uh-oh.
this is not me who says this, Urban Dictionary. When somebody tells you nice drip, it means that you're wearing nice clothes. Consequently, if you're in the hood, it means you will probably lose your nice jewelry.
It says? Oh man. Run. So that means run
my
basically.
God.
If you're
It says situation 1, student 1. Yo, what's up? Nice drip you got there. Them diamonds be shining hard.
Uh-oh, diamonds.
Student 2, thanks, my G. Situation number 2. Hood guy. Yo, nice drip, homie. Would you give me some? Me. Start sweating. That's it. That's pretty good.
Run. How about me? Start sweating and then run.
Yes.
See, back in the day, if I told you I had the drip, what does that mean? I have gonorrhea.
Yo, that's true.
Yeah,
that is
used
true.
to be
They
the
used to
drip.
call gonorrhea the drip when you had the drip. That is right.
Because that's what was throwing me off. And my daughter says, what do you think of my drip? I'm going, oh my God, you have gonorrhea?
Well, first off, if I'm wearing diamonds anywhere, that means that this podcast is taking off. We've got a lot of coffee
You're
spots.
doing your own drag show.
Because I don't wear diamonds.
read to
Period. That's crazy.
Man, I can't believe Marty has the drip, man.
Would you ever wear diamonds out in public like that?
I don't know. Diamonds are worth nothing.
Girl's best
Yeah.
friend.
Well, they are a girl's
Diamonds
best
are
friend.
just,
Not anymore.
I'm such a scam.
They are. I agree
Yeah.
100%.
They're such a
Cubic
scam.
zirconium's just as good.
Yeah, they're actually more rare. Diamonds. You know how many diamonds there are out there? There's so many
Tons.
diamonds.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're not as rare as what
No. Diamonds are
beers
not rare at all.
would have you
No.
think.
No, they get them out of South Africa. They put little children in mines and make them hang them out.
So they do like the cobalt and stuff and diamonds at the same time. Is that what they're
Probably.
mining over there?
So you done mining diamonds, go do cobalt. Yeah.
Yeah, scientists believe there are a quadrillion tons of diamonds in the earth.
Quadrillion?
A quadrillion tons. Quadrillion tons, not quadrillion pounds. Quadrillion tons of diamonds.
Oh my
And on
gosh!
certain planets, it rains diamonds. So
It literally, they mean nothing. There's only one company that owns all the diamonds.
yeah, go out and buy a diamond
Wow.
and try to resell
Well,
it.
it's great.
You'll learn how much they're worth. and
It's
they're
great
worth
marketing, right?
Right.
I mean, essentially, it's just showing. It's basically wearing your success. It's showing how successful you are if you're
Right.
nothing. Do you know
wearing.
why rappers wear gold chains?
Why?
It's because if they arrest you, they cannot take your personal property. So they will wear the gold chain so they could sell it to get bail money.
Oh,
But
interesting.
The police cannot seize the property on your person.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing?
I used
Smart.
to wear gold chains back when I was a pimp.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I'll tell you, it makes sense. That's pretty cool.
That's the truth. I wouldn't make
It
that
is-
up.
That is crazy.
If
Wow.
you guys hear this crunch,
Hey, you know what? We didn't
Did you hear this?
Yeah, I heard the
I
crunch.
just want to let you guys know. Sorry, we apologize. Marty and I, we haven't eaten breakfast, and we're eating these peanuts.
You're eating some great peanuts here. What are the brands?
Sorry, peanuts.
Kirkland.
I want to make sure you guys
Kirkland, the
peanuts.
best peanuts.
Peanuts. And my favorite thing about Kirkland peanuts. Have you guys had these?
I haven't
I'm
had
having them now,
the
yeah.
Kirkland brand. I
They're
don't think.
not normal peanuts.
What?
They are extra. They're like normal peanuts are like oily and gross. These are like crunchy. These are incredible.
good.
They are called super extra large peanuts.
Oh wow.
Super extra large. They are roasted and salted Virginia peanuts. Actually, the company that makes this is called Hamptons. I know them pretty good. They make great peanuts. But if you haven't tried with
Really?
this, try a peanut.
Okay, I'll try one.
You got to try one on air. Let's see.
He has a peanut allergy.
I haven't had
You
any
just
breakfast
murdered
yet.
him.
but- Yeah. Yeah. I have a peanut allergy. I forgot to tell you.
Oh,
For
God.
the show. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Those are really good.
Right?
I like them, and they got just a right amount of salt on
Yep.
them too. They're not too salty. They're not.
Nothing like salty nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They're just perfect. Hey, you know what we forgot to do is though we forgot to introduce the man, the myth, the
Oh, my
legend behind
gosh.
the board, the one, the only, Mr. Johnny Knobs.
Ask him the
While
question.
he's eating his peanuts, Johnny. There have been people asking me questions. Matter of fact, I was at Costco the other day, and they flagged me down. They go, "Hey, are you on that show?" And I said, "Yeah." And they go, "Okay, good. We don't care about you, but that other guy,
How is this
we
not
really
Joe
like. He's the talented one. But
That's true.
how did he
true.
get his name?
This is a true story. True story. So today, this is what happened. Today I had a friend who had never had a peanut before. He had a peanut allergy.
Yeah.
And I gave him this peanut, and he ate it, and then he started screaming. He's like, "I'm done. I ate too many peanuts." And we were like,
Yeah.
"Hey, calm down. Be quiet. Be quiet." And my baby was sleeping inside.
Oh no.
And I was like, "You gotta be quiet." And so I put my handkerchief over his mouth to hush him, and I shoved it in his throat.
Oh my gosh.
And he
it's
was
getting violent.
yeah, he was like, and then my wife was like, "Thank you for hushing him up." And I said, "That's I know because I control the volume."
And
But
then
I forgot about why they call me Johnny Knobs.
So we just call him the volume.
That's it. They
now.
call me the volume.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Maxwell
why
the
they-
volume. That's my
Yeah, he
name.
was saying, "Johnny Knobs, I need my EpiPen," and then you shoved it in his mouth. He didn't. Did the guy get the EpiPen, or what happened there?
You tell me. It was you.
Oh, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
They put him in the storage container.
That was a
with the ice
violent
floor.
story. I'm sorry.
That was very violent. Can we go back to Chat GPT on these stories?
Did you unalive him?
Speaking of kids,
Where's your mind at right now?
I don't know, man. I'm eating too many. I mean, I'm hungry. I'm drinking.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
drinking diet
hangry.
pepper, zero sugar. And
He's hangry,
So,
folks. He's hangry.
have
Happy
you
to
guys
Yes.
So I was just talking about my child, screaming,
Yes.
whatever. Or no, it was you screaming. My child was waking up. Doesn't matter.
Someone died.
I was screaming
thinking-
like a child.
We were starting a discussion before. We didn't finish it. We
Yes.
wanted to talk about. I wanted to know. I have one child.
Yeah.
Eric, the doorman, has one child.
Yes, correct.
Marty has a few children.
Although
here.
my wife, when we say she has 2.
Oh, nice. Oh, wait a second.
There we go.
Marty's got a few children. You have three or four? Three
I think
children.
he's populating the whole earth at this point.
That's right. All by
So
myself.
the question is, I've always thought, like, having one child, it's the parent's responsibility to entertain that child all the time.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't just say, hey, go play. I mean, you can, but they're by themselves. When I was a kid, I had a brother and a sister. So there was a lot of time. I wasn't with my parents all the time. Most of my memories of being a kid and hanging out, I was with my brother and sister.
Okay. They were
so-
watching you. You were the youngest, right?
I was the youngest, but me and my brother would make movies. We would wrestle. We would, we had a lot of fun, actually.
You're basically doing all the stuff your older brother wanted to do.
Yes, yeah, exactly. He would,
you wanted to or not.
he would practice all his wrestling moves on me. He would,
Yeah.
he'd put my head on the ceiling fan. All the stuff.
We're going to make a movie, and you're the official stunt man.
Yeah.
So get on the roof and jump off.
However, it was a thing that it kept me occupied. It kept them occupied, and we learned from each other. I learned from my siblings.
Yeah.
So it was something. While my parents could be like, "Hey, go play. We're going to go outside and
Have to work or do whatever they're
yeah,
doing.
yeah,
as
we're going to go do
parents.
some yard work. We're just going to relax." I was doing whatever. In my mind, I think it might be easier to have 2 kids than 1 kid because I'm just thinking ahead. Like, how do I entertain Gwen all the time for the next 18 years by herself? So in my mind, I think maybe a second child's easier. And I wanted to hear both your opinions because you guys have had children longer than me.
Because
Why don't you-
we're
you just
the
say?
not so experts.
Yeah.
Because
Then I
I've
have some
experienced
articles,
both, oddly enough, because
Okay.
I have a 37-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 14-year-old.
Right.
So my 2 kids are 20 years apart.
Yeah.
Raising my only child was easier because 2 children are not twice as much work. It's exponentially more work.
Interesting.
You have to referee a lot of arguments, a lot of fights, a lot of whining and crying. But my oldest daughter is happy that we did have other children because now she has siblings.
Right.
Yeah.
And my daughter and my younger daughter and my son will fight a lot, but they're fiercely loyal to each other.
Right.
Yes.
And they do things together. But I grew up with brothers and sisters, and it had its good points and its bad points.
Right.
Because there's a lot of abuse that goes
course,
on. But
but
then
here-
again, a lot of bonding that could never take place any other
Elsewhere,
way.
right. I think it's a unique
Now, I will say
experience.
your older daughter, though, yeah, she thinks it's great now that she has siblings, but she never had to deal with being the oldest and watching the other
Right,
2. So
right.
so she kind of got out of that too. So that's kind of
But she has to now, I'm sure.
no, she doesn't probably, right? Because they're old enough to take care of themselves. I mean, it's
Pretty
not like-
much.
But
yeah.
for a while, she had to, I'm assuming.
But like the other day, I had her give my other daughter some big sister advice on some things.
Yeah.
So it's nice that way. So she but it's just also you're able to focus on a single child more, so they grow up different than children with siblings.
Right. Right.
They grow up a little bit more mature, a little bit more independent, which isn't always good.
Right.
But given a choice, I would have 2 kids at the close in
2.
age, close in age.
Too close. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because
Now-
they do play with each other to a certain extent, and they take care of each other.
Yeah, that's actually what I found a couple articles in the show notes. You can check it out. It says, these are some reasons why having 2 kids is easier than 1. And they do say that it is more work in certain areas. But some of the benefits is they entertain each other for hours on end. There's always an extra set of hands to offer comfort. When mom or dad isn't enough to comfort one of the kids, the perfect antidote, their sibling.
That's very true.
Which I think is I imagine my sister, my oldest brother, my brother's my oldest sibling. He wasn't maybe the most comforting person. My sister, though, who's 4 years older than me, she was very comforting to me. Something was wrong, she'd make sure that she was taking care of me. She had very much a mother instinct, big sister
My
instinct.
sister was the same way. Like
Yeah.
when things were going good at home, I'd go over to her house, and it would
Right.
work out. So
This is they offer legit help in times of need.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
They always seem to know where the other one's stuff is.
Yeah.
Or they take the other one's stuff.
That's
they
the
took
thing.
it.
That's
the
probably. I
thing.
think that could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Car trips are easier. That makes sense. I could also imagine them being harder.
Harder, yeah.
Because you're fighting. And I fought with my brother and sister a lot.
It's distracting. Very distracting for parents. Yeah.
My mom. There's a famous story of my sister and I weren't even that old. I think we weren't even young. We were. I was probably in junior high or high school. And there was that song from Cher, "Do you believe in life after love?"
Yeah.
And
Sounds almost like she's here.
you guys know that? My sister and I, for some reason, heard that song and thought it was hilarious. And we were singing it as loud as we could from the back of the car.
Uh-oh.
And my mom pulled over at, we got at a gas station. She kept on telling us not to, and we kept on doing it because we thought it was funny. So we stopped at a gas station. My sister and I got out to go to the bathroom and stuff. My mom locked us out of the car until we sang it as loud as we could for everybody at the gas station.
Your mom's great. I love it.
And we had to sit there and sing it as loud as we could for
love
everybody.
it.
It was hilarious. It says that they're better eaters when there's multiple children. I don't know.
So here's the thing. I don't know if you have this trouble with your daughter. My kids. So we used to go through the trouble, make them meals. And they would never eat them. Oh, I don't want that. Or I'm not hungry.
Yes,
I'm going to eat it later. And you're going, why am I bother making a meal for you?
My wife says that all the time.
Yeah, and now that they're older, we sometimes just don't prepare stuff for them. And we go, well, find something to eat because if I make it, you won't eat it. And they want to eat it like 10 o'clock at night and weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
Glad it's not just me.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like we're trying to introduce. I mean, constantly, introduce like vegetables and stuff. I mean, they never want to eat that. You do, and then it's like, oh my gosh, and you try all the tricks. Well, if you don't eat that, you don't get your ice cream, or you don't get your dessert. Blah blah blah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, at least we're only cooking for we don't have to cook for 2 kids, just one.
Yeah, but it's just
okay. Yeah. Actually, I really don't have an opinion on this.
I don't really know.
No, I'm teasing. I do. Of course, I do. Come on, I got an opinion on everything.
Yeah, go for it.
No. I will say this. Okay, I've kind of experienced different ways. Like same with Stu. So
did you grow up with siblings?
I grew up a single kid.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I grew up only kid, and then my
Explains a
parents.
lot.
And then, of course, for some reason, my parents got divorced. Maybe that was the reason. But anyway,
my parents got divorced too.
My parents got divorced, and then they got remarried and had kids. So then I had siblings later on in life. Mm-hmm. Now I was like 15 at the time, 14, 13, 13, 14. Anyway, I was older, so I kind of had my own life and I was doing my own thing. So I never really, I'm not like close with my siblings, like we grew all the way up together type of thing. Because there's a huge age difference. And plus it's funny because of divorce, I was, a single kid in between 2 families. I led a whole different life than my siblings had, right? So there was that. So yeah, I mean, I love my siblings. I mean, and I do feel close to them. I think as we get, as far as adults, we've gotten closer, because adults, and we, of course, experience adult things, and we have kids of our own now. Mm-hmm. So that's one. Having an only child now, oh boy, I don't know if it's, of course, I haven't had, multiple kids, so I don't know, but you do have to do a lot of entertaining. Now, this is where friends come in. This is good that there are some friends in the neighborhood that she can go play with and run around and do that. So that kind of gets her out of the house and stuff, which is great. Right. She's really good too about she'll watch stuff and she's able to do things like she'll watch how to make these certain bracelets like on YouTube or whatever, and then she's just making them, and all that stuff. So she keeps herself busy a lot. She's not just sitting around, she's always constantly doing things. But yeah, there is also a lot of entertaining.
Introduced her to some very interesting things like I Love Lucy.
Oh yeah. Well, the shows that she does watch some older shows. Yeah, I Love Lucy.
I think that's really cool.
And my wife introduced her to friends. I'm like, what?
No, not friends.
Not friends. But yeah, the I Love Lucy stuff is kind of funny.
Yeah, but I like that your daughter can pick out when they use the body double for Monica in Friends.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, her. I mean, they've watched those episodes so many times. Her and my wife that they can do all that stuff, right? They can pick all those oddities out. Even it's funny because even in Lucy, we're all able to now, because we've seen it now again so many times. We're able to pick out spots where they messed up, or you can tell they go off script, and it's just like funny, all the little oddities in the show now you can pick up.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, going back to the point. I do think, I don't know, a single kid. I mean, it's a lot of work. To me, it would seem like it would be like you're saying 5 times more work, Stu. It'd be more. more work with more kids. I do see that there are points and parts of that are true, where maybe there are times they could play together and they're not fighting and they can get comfort, or the older child could help out a little bit with watching the younger one, at times when the parents are busy. But I think just overall, kids are just hard, tough anyway, to take care of. That's why, the nuclear family is so important. And we talked about this before in the previous podcast, and how the family is so important. And that's why you need kind of that whole family structure, because they are a lot of work to raise kids, So
that's another debate that my oldest daughter's having, because she just had her first kid, and her husband wants another one, and she's not sure, so she's having this debate also. Yeah. She sees my 2 kids, and she goes, "Oh my God, I only want 1 kid."
Well, this might be a good podcast for her to listen to then.
Oh, there you go.
What about? So let me ask you: are you guys thinking? Are you thinking?
We're thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I would like 2 kids.
But you got to have them kind of close together.
Yeah, I would like to have another kid. Okay. I think it would be fun, because in my mind, I'm thinking ahead, because I grew up. The difference is you grew up kind of an only child.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to you. I don't even know how it computes in my head. I'm thinking, like, what does Gwen do all day? If he doesn't have a sibling, what happens when she comes home? Like, when I came home, I was like, "Hey, Mom and Dad," I chatted with them, then I went and played with my brother and sister. That was what I did. I don't. So I'm thinking, what does she do? She comes home, and then I'm like, "All right, well, I'm an old man, and I got to go out and do something." It was like I went out,
do old man things.
Yeah, and I played football with my brother. I went swimming. I wrestled. We built things. So I just don't really, I can't compute how it works.
Yeah, it's true, because with my first daughter, it's just like I did a lot of things with her, but I was younger and able to do them. Yeah. And now I'm older, and I'm glad that they have each other,
Right.
Well, you keep it, but you guys do a lot as a family too, where you guys were doing the karate and all that kind of stuff. So you guys do a lot of family things too together that are outside activities from the home, right? But I think, listen, it wasn't in the cards for us to have another child, but if we were able to, we definitely would have. It wasn't for, we wanted to have another child. And we wanted to have ours have a sibling. So, we would have had another one also. It just wasn't in the cards
and it might not be for us. You just never know. And so it's like, whether or not I want to or not, in my mind, it's like, well, in God's hands, we'll see if it happens. But it's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering, like, if I could choose. So I've been doing some research. This is from Research Addict. It's in the show notes, and I thought this was pretty interesting. And keep in mind, this is, you can't really trust all research, but they compiled a whole bunch of research and they put it into this one thing. And all the links are actually at the bottom of the article I'm going to post. But they show, between all the research, they find some, what I think, really interesting stuff. They say, according to their research, women are happiest with only 1 child.
Makes sense.
So that's what they say. But then they say, but that's only early on when you click the next article. When they get older, then they're happier with more than 1 child.
Okay.
So at young ages, 1 child.
Yeah.
Men benefit from 1 child versus 2. They say that it's because modern men take on more diaper and dishes with the birth of another child. Traditional men, they actually have increased happiness with more children, which is men who don't do as much stuff with the baby. It says, however, on the other hand, scientists researching identical twins looked at fathers too. They found that having children did not affect the happiness at all. Life satisfaction remained stable regardless of how many kids they had. So it's not really, it's inconclusive. It says a second baby does have benefits. Life satisfaction and meaning in adults. Marriage makes it more fun to have a second child, another baby. But the second study says it can take a toll on your marriage.
Yes, that's very true.
Which makes sense.
You know what? It doesn't. I'll tell you what. I disagree with that. It doesn't take a toll on the marriage. I think what it does is that it just exacerbates the flaws in the marriage. In other words, if the marriage is kind of weak,
that
really
makes sense.
To begin with,
those things
and that's why it may take a toll. But it's just because all that's. I mean, hey, when we had our first one, and it's like you're dealing with that kind of now. Not necessarily. I'm not saying anything about your marriage, but I'm just saying that you're at that stage with your daughter being so young that they're so demanding,
right?
And any little cracks in the marriage, right. I mean, they get opened up.
It's a good point. Yeah, you either strengthen or you break.
And I think it did strengthen our marriage. Now, for a time, I think it was really stressful.
It's hard,
and straining on our marriage.
You have to do the work.
But you have to do the work, and you have to do the work on yourself. It makes you a better person. 100%. Do the work on yourself and on your marriage.
100%. Bree and I, and I don't know. Hey, Bree, I'm talking about our marriage.
I know we should bring her in here. Let's get the real deal.
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
Let's get the real deal.
I would say, actually, should we do that? That'd be an interesting segment.
Yeah, bring her in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. We're going on a quick break. We're gonna bring.
Hey, everybody.
We're gonna get the real deal, folks.
We'll be right back.
The truth.
That's a good idea. All right. Okay, we're back. All right. So this is where we were.
Back, folks.
We left, and we were just starting to talk about children and different things, and we were talking
How
about
much you hate your wife?
Yeah. We were talking about how if cracks in a marriage and
we were talking
crack
about
in your marriage. My wife would not let me do any drugs.
I got one crack for sure, but I won't tell you where it's at. Okay, we were talking. we were talking about. We're talking about kids, and we're talking about one kid versus two kids, multiple kids, and stuff. And then it kind of led to, all right, how even just having one kid though, and especially when they're younger, that it really kind of the little cracks in the marriage. It really opens them wider. I mean, it puts a lot of stress and strain having a child in a marriage. And so Max was talking about, yeah, it's so true. And he was talking about, you started to go into your marriage, didn't really go into it. So I go, wait a minute, we should get the expert. Right. So we should get your wife out here. So if you can introduce yourself, and then maybe just answer that question. I don't know, Max, you can maybe talk about some of the strains if you guys want to. Some of the things.
So everybody, you guys have heard a lot about her. You've heard her on another podcast from Light of Mind Media.
Oh yeah.
You know her from We Read. Grimm's
We
Fairy
Read, that's
Tales.
right.
So you know her. Her name is Brianne.
That's me.
Debbas.
Thanks. That's really nice to be here.
Brianne Knobs Debbas.
This is a special moment.
Mrs. Knobs, hi.
Yeah. This is Knobs. Wow.
So we're going through a couple of studies here.
See, it builds a whole image in your head, huh?
Oh, you had to
And
go
none of
there,
it's good.
Stu. Come on.
So a couple of things is that it says that there are some things that happen when you have more children that it can take a toll. This takes a toll in your marriage. It can affect family life, but it shows that you're actually happier as they get older. Of course, there's more financial things. It says that, however, ended with, I do want to point this out, that in the end, having 2 children or more was better for your health. Early death increases 18% for parents with 1 child.
Wow. Jeez.
That's pretty big. Also, the risk gets higher after you have 4 kids. So 1 kid, it's just kind of really interesting. I thought that was interesting. So anyways, we were talking about the cracks and how you had said your exact thing that you said was it's not the kids that take a toll. It's the weak parts of a marriage that actually just kind of get exasperated. Yeah,
they get exasperated. Having the kids opens that up, and it puts a lot of strain.
Gets amplified, and the focus
gets amplified.
On that, yeah.
Exacerbated.
What did I say?
Yeah.
I did before I came. What are you? Wait, what?
It's not exasperated.
I said exasperated?
Yeah, it's exacerbated.
Exacerbated. Did I say exacerbated originally or exasperated?
I don't know. Whatever you said,
I think I was getting exasperated at the exasperation.
I'm just saying, if I were listening, I'd be like, they said that word wrong, and I would want someone to correct it on the air.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
This segment is called
Bree brings down the show.
Corrects the language.
The podcast.
The grammar.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see suddenly see all the problems in your marriage. They're obvious.
Perfect segue to the cracks in our marriage.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say that
you said you agreed with me 100%.
I agree with you 100%.
That it's either going to strengthen the marriage or it's going to tear it apart.
And what I was gonna say is that when we had our daughter, there was a lot of things that both Bree and I wanted to work on with kind of within ourselves, within the marriage, and there were things that I think could have become really problematic. Or like just we could have just fought about it or whatever. So Brianne wanted to work on, I think, tidying up. She had she has maybe a messiness gene.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I've always kind of struggled with keeping like my workspace, like in my office or wherever, has always been immaculate. My classroom, my desk, whatever it was. When people would find out that I was messy at home, they just it couldn't compute. But the space at the office or in the classroom is a smaller space, and there's only so much that comes into it. And so I could manage that. But then in my home space, I don't know, maybe I spent all of my tidying energy in the workspace, and so when I got home I didn't have any. Anyway, it was just something that I wanted to adjust in my life, and it had been something that I'd been wanting to work on for a long time, and something that was kind of a pressure point in our marriage, or a what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it, but
a crack, like he said.
a crack. Kind of ongoing, I think, since we got married, but the impetus for change and like the real motivation to actually like, okay, get off my rear and do something about it came with, holy smokes, we're bringing another human into this house, a tiny life, and we need to have space for her, and it needs to be safe for her, and it needs to be a space that both Max and I can function in with as minimal stress as possible, and clutter equals stress in your brain. And so really trying to, like, having our daughter was really the motivation that got me, like, kicked me into gear. Because until then it was like, well, I can deal with it, and it stresses my husband out, but I mean, it sounds terrible, but like that didn't bother me enough to get me going. Because I mean, you're an adult, and I just figured that you should deal with it. It's terrible. No, I realized that was a strain that I put on our marriage. I realize that now, especially seeing how my efforts in the home have improved Max's stress level and therefore our relational health. Right. But yeah, I think it just kind of depends on how you let that child motivate you.
And you had you kind of mentioned, to go back a little bit too, you had kind of mentioned, I can't remember if it was on the podcast or actually off, that you're very minimalist. Right, so you guys are that's where your guys are kind of different. You're minimalist.
Yeah, because I naturally struggle with mess.
Yeah, so we both have that. He's just been working longer.
Been working really hard.
Oh, okay. So you're not naturally like that, where you just like want to get rid of stuff.
No, I work on. It's a very like I almost have to let some of my mess come back, because my fix to it is I just see anything and I just throw it in the trash. I don't want to get it out. Do you ever?
Let me ask you this, because I'm the opposite of that. Do you ever though, when you throw something in the trash and you're like, dang it, man, I wish I would have kept that. Oh man, I do
that all the time.
Yeah. But I have my
you're like that too, or you
don't throw things away. I'm like you.
Okay.
My rule is the brain space that it took for me to kind of like handle it and look at it and deal with it is not worth it. So if I just need to buy it again, I'll buy it again. It's like, oh man, I wish I didn't. Doesn't matter. I will buy it again.
Yeah. Well, Amazon makes that easy with like 1-2 day delivery.
It's just like, is what it is. And I've done that before. I'm looking for stuff.
And that's actually something that I've really been working on, is shifting my perspective of what value is. And so shifting it from stuff and things to brain space and time. So the time and brain space that are swallowed up in having that thing or those things in my space, having to deal with them, having to put them away or clean them or whatever, those things are not worth the well-being that I gain and the time that I gain when they've exited the space. But that is because I am like you gentlemen as well. Like, what if I need it?
Yeah.
What if I want it? What if I decide that I'm going to do an amazing craft with it? Because I'm a crafty person.
Yeah.
As in I like to do crafts.
It's funny. You'll hold on to something. It's just funny in that going along that vein. You'll hold on to something for like years and years, and then finally an idea will come. Oh, I could do that with it. but you've hauled that thing around how many homes, moved it how many times,
decades,
and you've had it for years. But I love the way you guys say. I've never thought about that way. Brain space. I like that term, and that may be the one that kind of changes me too. Because my wife always gets on me about that too, because she's very minimalist. Okay. She just tosses everything, and I'm the one that has all the stuff. And when we move, we got to get a moving truck because I'm the one with the stuff, right? She has hardly nothing. So I like that. That I don't know, you guys may have even helped my marriage even more. But what are some other things? I mean, not necessarily you have to go into detail, but I mean, do you feel that overall, especially having a child, one child at least even, and I'm sure two would be even a little bit more, but just the strain and the stress it puts on a marriage. I mean, you guys feel, because that's what we were talking about. I mean, it's either going to break it apart or pull it together. I mean, do you guys feel that it's really brought you guys like together even closer than before you had your child?
Yeah, because there's, I don't know if I'm just going to say it. Just biblically speaking, Max and I believe that when a man and woman become get married, they become one, they become a unit. And then a child is an expression of that, is a literal physical expression of that unity, a joining of our DNA. So in a very kind of like religious aspect, there's that closeness that she brings, but there's just the amount of effort and
the responsibility that you take on with that
of being parents has. And again, this, like you said, Eric, though, it isn't, I don't think, the child that is the problem.
Yeah, of course not.
It is the marriage. So if we were in a different space in our marriage, if we weren't already operating with the mindset of we're a team and we're partners in all things, then it could very much feel like, well, I'm in this on my own, especially as the mom, you know, with nursing and those early months. It's just kind of all mom. So, but because we were a team, it wasn't all mom. It was, you know, obviously I'm the one doing the nursing, but I think pretty much almost every diaper change in months 1 through 3 was Max. And there were bottles in there, and the bottles were Max. And, you know, so because we had already, like I said, had this mindset of we're a team and we're partners, that just was amplified, and we kind of drilled down into that when we had this new thing to partner on.
Yeah, and when there are cracks, I think you have the option is either you fight about it and you let it grow and fester, or Bree and I we work hard on just being very honest. So like, this is a problem. And it's hard. We have hard conversations. Like Bree and I,
fun.
we get into real conversations. Like, hey, this is an issue that we need to fix, because if we don't, in 5 years, I'm gonna resent this or whatever. So we just bring it up. I'm like, okay, well, let's work on it, because it's not worth it, or else it does fester. And then a kid comes in, or a second kid comes in, and then it blows up because now it's a big issue. Yeah. So I think that's it. It's like, do you fix it then? Or do you from last Marty, last episode you said Band-Aids, they just make things look pretty. Do you just put a Band-Aid on it and make it look pretty?
Because a marriage has to be like steel, and how they make steel is they heat it up almost to the breaking point, cool it off, heat it up again, cool it off. So that's what makes a marriage strong. I've been married for like 28,000 years. And we have times where we fight a lot.
Yeah.
And we come back and we make up.
Right.
And it's all those times, all of the things we've been together, like raising the kids, doing all the things, all the hardships that we stuck together for, has made our relationship incredibly strong, you know?
Yep.
And even though, you know, there are times where we just want to strangle each other, or I always wake up impressed that I never smothered her in her sleep with my pillow. But it's all the times and all the history that we have together that we stay together, and it makes our love so much stronger. It's not all the good times, but a lot of the bad times that we survived. That makes us stronger as a couple.
Yep. And that's what it is too. You know, having a child's not a bad time, but what it does is that it just forces it puts a lot of pressure. If you can imagine, just like, you know, you're squeezing something and there's no place for this to go, and just all of a sudden, you know, it's coming through, you know, like a balloon. It's just coming through, seeping through all the little parts it can. It's putting extreme pressure on that relationship. And I even told my wife recently, I said, I mean, you know, there were just points where, you know, it was like, literally, I was just thinking I was going to freak out, just because it changed the dynamic, you know, and having that extra child, you know, for both people, it just really, I don't see how people do it singly, but together, I mean, taking care of this one life, it just puts so much pressure on it. And I know we're talking a lot of negative. I don't want to freak people out there, but what you're saying, Stu, is totally awesome, and it's totally true, because what it does, it makes it so much stronger and so much better. And it not only changes the marriage, but for me, it changed me as a person. I mean, I had to look down deep and say, listen, here's the deal. I know I have to do some changing, and, you know, and even just the way I react to the relationship and all kinds of stuff, you know, and that made me a better person overall.
Definitely. Yeah. And in the hard conversations that Max and I have, I mean, there have been times where there's a pressure point, a crack that I have let fester because I'm like, well, I don't know how to bring this up. This is going to be an ugly conversation. It's not going to be fun. I don't know how to handle this. I don't want to sound like I'm telling him how to live his life. I don't want to sound controlling. I don't know, whatever. And so I have let it fester. And then when it finally was okay, I can't hold it in anymore. So I'm going to say it as best as I can, as tactfully as I can. It was still not great the way it was communicated. And then a conversation that probably could have been a lot calmer was not as calm as it could have been.
Yeah.
But it was both of us saying, okay, here's the issue. Like, what do we need to do? What steps do we need to take? How do we, and both of us actively, saying, how do we solve this? And something that Max is really good about is like reminding me and us of the things that we have conquered individually and together in the past, like Marty was saying. So those previous hardships, we have, I would say, the good fortune of having had some pretty difficult health hardships in our marriage, even prior to us getting married, while we were dating and engaged, and very early in our marriage, where we really had to support each other through bleak times.
Yeah.
And again, it isn't that thing that breaks up a marriage. And people say, oh, well, our marriage broke up because, one of them was sick or whatever, and the other couldn't handle it. It's like, well, it wasn't the sickness. It was the way that they responded to it. And I don't know. I don't want to cast blame on people. I know that situations are hard and sometimes things are just not navigable. So like, whatever. This isn't a statement about like, oh, you're a terrible person if your relationship failed because one of you was sick and the other couldn't handle it. But I know in our case, we use that as a reason to, like Marty was saying, come closer together.
Yeah, you guys got stronger.
And we did get stronger, and the love does grow deeper. And relationship experts say that like rehashing or reliving things that were positive or that had a positive impact on your relationship, like nostalgia, being nostalgic with your spouse about, I would say, both good and bad times, is something that strengthens a marriage. So,
well, and along those lines too, I would say that just what you're talking about, when you're talking about a person, how they react to maybe the other one going through issues, and when you were talking about that, it was making me think that when I was talking about too about a marriage growing stronger. Now we're, of course, we're talking kind of about kids, but just in general also, there are, especially with having a child, it made me think about like when stuff like you're saying, I'd let it fester, right? And it would get to a point and I'm like, I'm just going to explode. And then I had to, wait a minute. I got to calm down. Am I the one? It made me think about me when I'm saying it made me a better person. It made me think about, wait, am I the one that has a problem with this? Is this really not an issue? Is this just my issue?
A me thing.
And should I calm down and should I work on that within myself? Or, is this really an issue I need to bring out because we're under enough stress as it is?
Sure.
So do I need to bring, just all my junk out here, but throw it on my partner? Instead of deal with it myself. And so that's too how it made me look internal and really start to throttle what I was doing and look at things in a different way.
That's a really good point too. Yeah. If you can be reflective and look at it and say, well, this is really just my issue, and the only reason to bring my spouse into it is if I need their support to tackle it.
Yeah.
That can definitely avoid some conflict. And I think another thing that having a child does, at least for me, has just, and I think for Max too, has really highlighted the importance of dealing with your stuff, because we have both become reflective about who we are and how we behave and the impact that could have on our daughter if that's the norm that she sees. If, like, for example, for me with like, okay, I really want to get better at just keeping a house that's orderly.
Yeah.
Like, because one, it'll be better for my brain, it'll be better for Max's brain, and therefore better for our marriage. But then our daughter's going to grow up, and she's going to grow up knowing how to do that.
Yeah.
And hopefully not have that same struggle that I'm currently having once she's an adult. so it's like I want to equip her with those skills. And if I'm going to equip her with those skills, I've got to deal with myself first. I've got to learn the skills.
Yeah.
And it's good to do it at an early age.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's how kids see parents communicate with each other.
Definitely.
Because it's how they talk to each other. And me and my wife were both Italian, and we yell at each other a lot. We love each other, but we'll yell. And my kids grew up with that. So, like one time my oldest daughter brought over a boyfriend, and we're screaming at each other and goes, "Why are your parents fighting?" And she goes, "No, that's just the way they talk."
Sure.
And but it's how you treat your wife. Like, even though we're arguing or we're screaming at each other, I'm respectful and she's respectful to me. We never cross lines calling each other names, you know?
Right.
And so they see that. Like my son called my daughter a bee in my house. And I said, "Do you know you're talking to my daughter? Why are you calling well, she's my sister. I don't care. She's my daughter. You don't talk to women like that." Because apparently at school, that's what they do at school. I go, "You don't do that in my house, and you don't talk to women that way. You never hear me call your mom that."
Yeah.
So...
No, that's a good point. Yeah, watching parents
hugely important.
Yeah, watching parents interact, and
that's how they learn to.
And that's the thing. Like, I want my daughter to experience real life in that, and she's seen us argue before too, and then I've had a talk with her after that and said, yeah, people love each other, but they do argue. And there are just things that you have to work through. And I try to explain to my daughter too that this is kind of a normal part. It's not going to be this perfect on-screen TV, family, and everybody's just
with Bill Cosby said, "Here, you get that ham, have a soda."
Did you have to bring him into it?
Drink.
Yeah, you have to bring that into it.
He was TV's father.
Yeah. But yeah, I want them to experience it. But what you're also saying is true too. Like my daughter, at this point she's 8 years old, and it's like I see her, she's got habits I've got, and I'm like, I'm so like she's a pack rat like me, and I'm like, I don't know if that's in the genes or if she just seen me be a pack rat,
Because my daughters act just like me, especially in relationships, because like my wife uses brute force to get what she wants from people. Me and my daughters we build walls and we are scorched earth. We don't care if my daughters don't care if my wife says, "I'm taking everything away from you and you're going to sit in your room forever." I don't care. All you have to do is this one thing. Never going to happen. Because they're just scorched earth, and they got that from me, unfortunately.
Stubborn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we could call it that.
It's significantly less poetic.
Yeah, but they don't care.
Yeah.
And they unfortunately, but yeah, my daughter's a lot like me too. So,
so I don't know, maybe that is genetic, but yeah, I do think it's in how they see the parents also taking care of issues, and there are, and I probably let things get to me. I'm the one that doesn't. My wife's pretty, calm about things, and I'm the one that gets a little more excited about issues, and then, and I've let things
more the opposite.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm like, Mom, like, don't do that. She's watching. I'm like, but oh well, it's done. But you just try to continually work on yourself and be better. And that's what's a good thing.
They see that too, though. So by the same token, she can learn habits from you that you're like, oh, I wish she didn't have that habit. But then if you decide that I don't want to have that habit, and I'd like her to not have that habit, the best way to help her not have that habit is to work on yourself, not having that habit. So then she's just as she's seen, if the pack rat thing isn't a gene, which I think some of it probably is, but Max probably has it too, but he has learned to tame it, and that's been a big effort on his part over a lot of years. And honestly, I learned some of what my skills from watching him. So by the same token, like, our daughter is going to learn from watching both of us.
Yeah. And
if there's something that you want to change, then your children learn from watching you do the hard work of change. So, if you realize, I don't know, I'm even making an effort, like, okay, I really need to work on exercising daily. It's good for my body. It's good for my brain. And I want her to see me doing that. I want her to see me having that disciplined habit that isn't like this over the top crazy, like, oh, I need to exercise all the time because I need to be, the model of beauty or societal, whatever measurements and blah, blah, blah.
And then sometimes that turns into a neglect too, because you're neglecting your other responsibilities because you're only focused on one thing, right?
Sure, So I don't want her to see it as like this obsession or as this unhealthy thing or like this fixation on appearance, but rather like, this is the hard work that we do to be healthy because we love each other. And when we love each other, we take care of ourselves so we can continue to love each other well.
Yeah.
And like, so what does that look like? Well, it looks like, okay, we're going to have a healthy meal. And yeah, we'll have treats too, because life is also fun, you know, and that's important too.
Brought to you by Nutty Grams from Acapella Chocolate.
Nice.
Nutty Grams. Devil's Food Chocolate. It's delicious.
Our daughter loves them.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm thinking about. Nice about having 2 kids is if you mess up, you got another one.
Second try.
Try again. Do over.
You've been kind of quiet over there, Mr. Johnny.
No, I'm listening. This is good.
What do you think, and what are some ideas? You know, you've heard all the questions and all the thoughts. What are your?
No, I think we pretty much summed up. I mean, Bree said a lot of, early on I kind of talked. She kind of emphasized what I was saying. I think that's it. It's a lot of, it's work. One thing that I really appreciate about doing this show with both of you as well is I have learned a lot from both of you, which has been really cool.
I've learned a lot from you. A lot of it makes me cry when I
Yeah.
Actually, I learned more from you, I think.
But I've learned really important stuff. Like, watching both of you with your kids has been really a really neat thing for me. And it's been something that since forever, like even early back in 2012 when we started our podcast, Marty, you'd bring both of your
kids,
kids, you bring your kids. And I just thought, man, that's kind of cool. Like Marty's not stopping doing things that he likes. He's just bringing them along and showing them things.
Yeah.
Seeing you, just take your kids out to like, they're interested in the things you're interested in, and you do the things that they're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought I've always looked at that and said, man, that's really cool. And you also have a lot of little tidbits that I've picked up on throughout. You say like things like marriage is like steel, and these really cool things that you do. And then Eric, same thing, like going out to being able to, we went to the wrestling thing. And
that was awesome.
Brought Amelia with you, and she liked it, and
sweat and blood fell on her face, but she loved it.
And I just think
the ring. Get a piece
for
of them.
me, having always imagined that I would have a boy, having a daughter for me was at first like it kind of, my brain didn't get it because I just literally imagined, because I was a boy, it's all what I did. So it was kind of a hard thing for me to like grasp.
How are you going to relate to a
girls
girl?
Are awesome.
Then now, but having watched both
Totally
of you,
jealous.
and then being able to go, oh, you know what? Like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, I can still take Gwen with me to do these things.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just a little bit different, and you get like this amazingly sweet daughter love, which you don't get with a boy. So it's
Well, it's cool because my son's 14. And he still kind of like halfway tries to hold my hand when we walk through the parking
that's
lot.
so sweet.
And sometimes he'll just forget and he'll hold my hand. I'm like, oh, this is so nice. And then he'll realize it and he'll pull it away.
It's
And
that
he keeps touching my hand. It's so cute.
it's that age where he's
Oh,
still
Marty.
kind of a kid.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the sweetest.
And they grow up so fast. I mean, it's just so crazy.
Too
But
fast.
and that's the thing for the listeners out there. I mean, we're not, and we keep talking about how hard and cracks and all this.
It's all
stuff.
worth it.
But that's the thing is that it's all worth it in the end. Everything that is worth having and that's going to make you happy is things you have to work for.
Absolutely.
Nothing is ever perfect, and nothing's ever completely trouble free. What he's showing us a
That's
picture
the
here.
sweetest thing ever.
Is it
my
you
son
holding it?
kinda
Oh, they're
halfway
holding
holding
hands.
my
A
hand,
picture.
and we're
Who took that picture? Your
My
daughter?
daughter. She's walking behind us, cracking
Ah.
That is too good.
Wow. And are you just like,
I know.
I'm gonna
This might be the
cherish
last
this for a
time.
little
Yeah, and your heart melts because you remember when he was little and he did all the time.
that's
He still kind of does.
Yeah, because they do.
Makes
They,
you realize maybe I'm doing something right as a dad.
Yes, Marty.
That's just
oh, my
awesome.
word.
but it is. But I mean, it's totally. And the thing that scares me is that you hear that young people are not having kids anymore.
That's scary.
They don't want. Yeah, they don't want. Kids, and it's like, what is going on?
I was one of those people. I was dead set from high school all through college into my 20s. Honestly, I had 2 serious relationships end because I was like, I don't want kids. Like, period, the end. And the guys I was with were not at the same time. Were like, well, that's a deal breaker. Like, I want to be a dad. If you can't promise me that you want to be a mom, like, we need to part ways. And I was like, Anyway, and people would tell me, oh, you'll change your mind. And I was so offended by that. I was like, how dare you insinuate that I don't know myself? And honestly, even when we decided that we would try to have a family, it was for me, it was just a step of faith. I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to be in a spot where I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go for this.
Yeah.
It was just like, I think that this is an okay thing. And let's see where life takes us. And kind of just, our big kind of theme as a couple has been like, let's adventure together.
Yeah.
That's a good theme. I love that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Max always just talked about everything being an adventure. And when I'd get bent out of shape about something, he'd be like, it's just another kind of adventure. Sometimes adventures are rough. And
they're the most memorable.
Right.
Yeah. And they don't always go according to plan, but they're still an adventure and there's still something to be learned and enjoyed and just cherished from it. So like that was even like our wedding theme was adventure kind of. We had our favorite travel snacks, and we had I made paper flowers out of maps. Like anyway, so
That was a great wedding. Were you invited?
No, I wasn't invited. I don't think I was. Was I? I don't know.
Good night, everybody.
oh jeez,
I don't know.
It's been a great show, everybody.
Well, great last show. It's been interesting years.
so just seeing even trying to have a family as a new adventure, that was just kind of how I had to take it, because I didn't think I was sure. I was definitely more in a place of being open to it and like, okay, yes, this could be a good thing. But previously I had been one of those people. I don't want the responsibility. I'm too selfish. I don't want to share my time. I don't want to have to use my resources, in a particular way. I want to be able to spend money on what I want to spend it on. I want to be able to do theater shows whenever I want. I want to
Travel to Europe.
Yeah, if I want to go travel someplace.
Can you imagine your life any other way?
No.
See?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
she is so even just,
It's that smile.
just
Oh,
that
yeah.
smile.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
good
such a
golly,
cutie.
that
Best.
smile.
Yeah,
We can't imagine our life without her. And the adventures that we have with her are so sweet. Taking her to the beach for the first time and her making a face every time we touch her feet to the sand. Like, no, thank you. Oh, but the birds. She loved the birds and wanted to chase the seagulls, not on her own feet, but with us running after them. And the delight on her face as she did that, like, okay, I've never had a beach trip quite that good.
Yeah, because I always used to laugh at people who took their small children to Disneyland until I did it. And I go, oh, I get it. I'm seeing
Right.
it through their eyes. This is
Right.
for
Oh,
me.
Yeah.
Even though they don't remember it, but it's all for me. I go, this is great. Go see Mickey. you know?
Yeah. The wonder on their faces as they experience new things.
Yeah.
I mean, even just everyday things. Like we fed her ice cream last night, and she just kind of. I think it was like I think she was getting a little bit of a brain freeze. I don't know. She kept
It
going,
was
like,
hilarious. She'd take a bite and like make the funniest scrunchy face and frown at me, and then want another bite.
and then, like,
give me
reach
more,
for
give me more.
It was
The best.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So funny.
Or she kind of did the same thing when she had a lime. Her lime reaction and her ice
it's the
cream
sweet,
reaction
the
were
sweet
like
and sour faces.
the
Yeah.
same. It was like,
They're amazing.
wait a minute,
yeah.
what's happening? Give me some more. Wait a minute, what's going in the face? And so just a ho-hum Friday night, we're both exhausted, but watching our girl eat ice cream,
Yeah.
like,
Worth it.
okay, worth it.
Well, and it's amazing what you can do too. I remember one time my wife and I had like food poisoning or something. We were both just, and she was, I
good
think she was
golly.
probably about 6 months at that point. And it's amazing what you can put your body, I mean, what you'll do is like, before you just be in bed, but it's like, listen, we got to feed and change and this and that. And it's just like, we were both at that point just dead and somehow doing it and
Somehow
getting through it.
making it happen.
It's amazing. Yeah. This, what you can do, as a parent. It's like you kick into a whole nother gear,
Yeah,
when
and
you
if
have
like
to.
a grizzly bear were trying to get your kid, you go, well, I got to fight a grizzly bear now.
Yeah.
You're going to lose,
And
but
win.
hey,
And win.
or even
Somehow
if you
you're gonna-
lose, at least you tried. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's true. You hear the stories about moms who literally lift cars off of their
Oh, yeah,
children.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
parent superpower, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Because the well-being of that child just kind of
It just outweighs everything.
outweighs,
Yeah.
all the other concerns. And I think that goes back to the marriage thing too, because the well-being of our child outweighs the hard things in the marriage. It makes it worth it to
Sure.
work on the things that are even the things that are not fun.
Yeah.
But having those hard conversations and coming to a place of understanding each other better. Like, I know my husband better now. I think he knows me better. And also, like, these whole new sides of us have blossomed. That it's like a whole new part of, there's a whole new part of Max for me to love, because I watch him with our girl and it just blows my mind to see him be a dad. And there's whole new things to compliment. He notices, and that's the other thing I think that's really important when you have a kid. And Marty, you were bringing this up because the way that you're talking about the way that you treat your spouse in front of your children is going to impact how they treat other people, and also what they end up looking for in a relationship for themselves.
Yes, true.
Especially with girls. Yeah.
Yes, especially with girls. But like, another thing I've read many times over is like, compliment your spouse in front of your kid. And so we do that a lot. We say, oh, did you say thank you to daddy for helping you get ready for bed, or say thank you to mommy for getting that food ready for you, or was it so nice that mommy did that, or I love the way your mommy does this, or I love the way your daddy does this. And just really like lifting each other up and affirming the qualities that you see in your partner as a parent. Then that goes a long way to developing a healthy child, but then that also goes a long way to just growing your marriage in new ways, because
for sure,
you are actively affirming the other, and when that's present, you can't help but grow in love and strength with your spouse.
I found too, I think, I've always been like, even as a kid, I was kind of more a loner, I just go, because I was for a long time, like I told you guys earlier, I was always just a single kid, and then my folks got remarried, and
but then you got rid of the hunched back, and then accepted by society.
I plucked all the hairs off my face. I look like Teen Wolf over here. No, but what I was going to say though is I think people are actually stronger together. That is so true, in the sense of that, a family really makes you a better person, and you are stronger together as a group. And being able to have that, have a pack. And, my wife and I, if, unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards. I was saying that earlier, to have, more kids.
You could adopt me.
I will adopt you. I don't know how my wife will feel about that, but I'll talk to her. I don't know. You might break our marriage. You might be the one thing. That's it. Kid, yeah. I'll bring home.
The cracks can't handle my.
We have a son.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. He's pulling Social Security right now, but that's okay.
Soon.
But I don't know, where was I going? Oh, we were going to have more kids, but it just wasn't in the cards for us. But we would have had more if we could have, and I think that's the one thing I wish. But I think ultimately, people listen to this, don't get scared or worried. Life's not like you have a kid and it's not going to be like, oh, hard times, hard. It's not all that. It's completely beautiful. It's amazing. They're just things we have to go through. But if you go and you grow with your partner,
don't romanticize it. It's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's going to be something that's beautiful on the other end. You get through that. And every time you get through something, it's even more beautiful.
Makes you stronger. Yeah.
So I think we're running on time, right?
Yep,
we're running
I love it. Just really quick, I want to say thank you. Actually, first, Business of the Week, Brewings. Brewings Kingsburg. Check it out. Check out
nice.
Brewings Kingsburg. We'll talk about it more after we go visit it. But it's in Kingsburg. It's actually strangely it's in Clovis. It's called Brewings Kingsburg.
I'm allowed in Clovis.
One of the people who does my physical therapy, that's her uncle who owns it, and I've been told good things. So we'll check it out.
All right,
but
for sure.
The other one is thank you to our special guest,
yes,
my beautiful
thank
wife,
you.
Brianne. Thank you for coming. That was awesome.
Brianne.
You made this all better.
And
I had a good time.
thank you for opening up and sharing.
My pleasure.
Next time we'll get into some real dirt on Max.
Yeah, when he's not here.
Thank you to Costco for your wonderful peanuts.
Kirkland,
snack.
Also
remember
to Acapella Chocolate for our sponsorship during Breeze Talk.
Buy us a coffee.
Buy us a coffee. NoFocusRadio.com. Buy us a coffee. Check out.
Get a membership.
Really, that's helpful. Do the membership.
Get a membership.
Join the Discord server. Chat with us. A lot of fun stuff. Also, check out Pardon the Intermission. That's the Doorman's Entertainment podcast.
Entertainment. Talk
Rate
about
and
entertainment.
review with how many stars do they rate and review?
5 stars always.
Always.
It's the correct number of
That's
stars.
the correct number of stars.
There's
Right.
a fan right there.
There you go.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Also, remember to leave those reviews. We'll read them live on the air, so leave those fun reviews. Thank you all very much. Adios.
Bye.